Rodrigo, I'll bring you in for your experience covering the protests from the visual side. I read once that you said covering Peru was more complicated and tougher than covering Afghanistan. Just curious how you dealt with this hostility and how you managed to overcome it in your coverage.
Hello. Well, I think that people generally in Latin America, but in Peru these days, people don't believe in the local media. So there is a lot of anger against the local media because protesters said that the local media lie and they don't tell the truth of what is going on, that they are like supporting the government and they are not saying that this was like a coup, not military, well, like a military coup or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to arrive and to try to explain that we are not local media, that we work for the international media, and that we don't have any political agenda, and we try to be as honest and as professional as possible to tell this complex story. It's a very complex story. I lived in Peru for almost 9 years. And there is a lot of conflicts that are mixing. It's the mining conflict in the south. It's the first time that these Aymaras and Quechua indigenous people elected a president. And everybody knows that the president was not really doing a good government, but at the end he was elected by these guys, by these people. The people are really angry because they think that even it was not a great president, it was the president that they elected. So we are talking in this story about very old problems in Peru, about discrimination, about the indigenous people being always at the back of the decisions in Lima. So we are facing these problems all together. At the end, what I felt in Peru while living there, I was coming from Guatemala and I thought that Peru was very quiet because it was really a place that there was a lot of things going on, but it never erupted like now. And now it's this country that is growing economically, but the inequality is incredible. So the economy is growing for 20 years and people are not facing those benefits. So there are a lot of things going on today in Peru. It's not only Castillo, it's Castillo, inequality, racism, the historical problems of Peru. Remember that in that part of Peru, in the south, was the biggest revolution against the Spanish empire, like Tupac Amaru. The place that now is facing all these clashes and all these dead people is the place where Tupac Amaru led the rebellion against the Spanish people. So I think it was interesting for me to go back and to see this in Peru. Almost everything is going on there now. It's crazy, and it was nice because I lived there for 9 years. Now I left, but I have a lot of friends, colleagues, and I really love the country, and it's very interesting for a journalist, but it's very bad for people. The economy is going down. Lots of local people, the people that are like facing the blockades of the protesters, they support the protest, but at the same time they are suffering. They can't work, most of them. It's very difficult to move. It's very difficult to move products from community to community, not only big companies. Like, people are suffering this.
Yeah. You mentioned interesting element about the revolution and the history that the south of Peru has. I mean, how do you see that this time? I mean, we're not necessarily at revolution yet, but this has marked a bit of a pivot point for Peru. It's the worst violent episode they've had in maybe over 20 years. Things have calmed down a bit in the recent weeks, but there's still in Puno, in other parts of the south, there's still a lot of unrest and a lot of anger. There's still not clarity around elections and what happens with Boluarte, the current president and Congress, who both of whom are very unpopular with the people. What do you see happening next? I mean, with Peru, where does Peru go?
Well, I think that this is not finished. Probably protesters got tired after like almost like two months of being in the streets. I think that the government has to call a new election day, so people that are angry will think that there is an opportunity of a new election in 3 or 4 months, but they are trapped in the Congress. They don't move forward. So I think that if the government is not going to call election, there are still going to be protests in the streets, in the south of the country. This is not going to stop. People are so angry that I don't think this is going to stop. Hopefully, we hope it's going to be more peaceful than in December and January, but the political situation is not going to change. I think it's going to be very unstable for the next month. And because on the Washington Post, I think Samantha, they wrote a great story in Ayacucho about what I am talking. It's not a problem that started now with Castillo. It's like a lot of things going on. It's not only Tupac Amaru, then you have to think in the 80s, in the almost civil war that was in Peru with the Shining Path and the government. So in that place I don't know, Samantha, how many people were killed in Ayacucho. More than,
I mean, it was the largest death toll was there. I think it was 69,000 total around the country is the estimate of the dead. But I mean, Ayacucho for sure, I think 40% of them, of the deaths were there, and they still are dealing with the repercussions of that and the suspicion and the accusations of being terrorists, and all of that is coming to the surface again.